This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're dealing with a Miele washing machine that's having trouble draining. The drain motor is spinning fast, but the water's just not moving. So we're going to take off the dryer. I'm going to disconnect the power and take off the dryer vent. And then going to kind of shimmy the whole washer and dryer away from the wall. I pull a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, a little left, a little right, back and forth to get it away from the wall. And then I'll be disconnecting the dryer by removing 4 screws that hold it, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. So I'm going to move this little drawer out of the way. Now I'm going to use my Torx 15 driver to remove this one on the right and the front that holds the front foot on. And then there's a little metal plate. I'm going to push it up to get it out of the way so the front foot can slip out. And there's one on the left side. I'll do the same thing. So zip that out, and then I'll push up on that little metal plate with a standard head screwdriver so the front foot of the dryer is free to move. And I'm also going to be taking the top off the washer, so I'll remove this Torx 15 screw on the right and left hand side. I'll spin it out about maybe 6 revolutions, and then I can push in on the screw and that'll release some clips that hold the front on. I'm sliding the dryer toward me to get it off of the washing machine, and you can slide like a recycling bin underneath it to slide it onto, or get somebody to help you. Taking a couple of Phillips head screws off the back. This is the washing machine upper panel. We've disconnected the 2 screws in the front, and these are the 2 in the back we're going to be disconnecting so that we can, once we get the dryer off, we can take the washing machine top off, because we have to get to a little vent tube that's probably blocked. I'm also going to be removing the coin trap. If you have water in here, you got to be careful, because when you release this, a lot of water will come out. This water had pretty much all drained out. There's just a little bit left. And I'm just going to be inspecting that. Also, I want to look at the impeller and make sure that it's on there tight. You can hear the motor spinning, but sometimes the impeller breaks loose. So it looks good. I'm going to reach in there though and see how it feels when I turn it with my fingers. It should turn kind of in a weird way where it turns easily and then it's difficult to turn, easy, difficult to turn, and that means it's connected really well. So that one did great. So I know the impeller's okay. So now I'm going to release these clips in the front, and I'll take the top panel off. And in the back left-hand corner, there's a little air vent that can get clogged, and a black tube that can get clogged with debris. And then when the air can't flow, the water won't leave the washing machine. Even though the drain's pushing hard and you hear the drain running, the water will just trickle out or barely move. So I'm going to push on a little tab here, and then I'll turn this thing, this cap, to remove it. Once I get the cap off, there's a black tube on this that I have to separate, and you can twist it off, or I'm using a little standard head screwdriver to give me some leverage to get that tube off. So a lot of times there's stuff either caught in this tube or it's caught in this upper cap, and you'll find weird stuff like lint or debris. If you get it all cleaned out, then the drain system can breathe and the water and air are mixed together, and the water will move readily. It'll move really well. But when it gets clogged, the water just doesn't move at all. So I'm going to pick the little ball out of there and make sure it's clean. careful not to drop that ball because there's almost no way to get it out of there without some disassembly. There we go. Just making sure all this stuff is nice and clear. I'm going to take this rubber tube and blow down into it, and you should be able to hear the air moving really easily. So I'm going to blow into that, and I can hear the air moving pretty good. So if it isn't moving, then you know there's a clog. It's moving a little bit. So I'm going to be removing the drain tube off of the back of the washing machine by removing the hose clamp. Just want to take a look at that tube, make sure there's nothing caught in it. So that looks good. I'm going to just drain the water out of there. And what I found though is that the black tube did have a bunch of junk caught in it. What I did is I used boiling water and a turkey baster, and I put the turkey baster into that tube, and I pushed hot water, boiling water, through it. And that tube exits at the top of the where we were looking before, where the coin trap is. So I just kept doing that. I kept putting boiling water into that tube, and then using the turkey baster I could push water in there pretty hard, and finally it just knocked all the junk out of that black rubber tube. And then when I blew through it, the air could go through there really well. So when I put it all back together and I tested it, it was draining really good. Just showing you how that little button works on the top panel. When you push it in, it moves a clip, and that clip hooks right there on the metal. So that's how you release the upper panel. So I filled it with water, now I'm canceling it, and it sounds like it's draining really good, really fast. So that's what it was, is that black tube was just full of junk, and using boiling hot water and a turkey baster I was able to push all that crud out down by the coin trap. So now it's just a matter of putting it all back together. Put the top panel back on. So you put it on the back first and then pull it towards you, and then you should be able to push in on the screws that you removed until the top panel sits down, and then you can tighten those screws. So we just got that fully locked in. It's interesting, this is an older Miele, and when I set it for spin, it sounds great. It's not loud. The rear bearing is in super good shape, and the customer uses it for washing blankets. So Miele is a pretty tough washing machine. Other brands, you wash heavy stuff like that, it ruins the rear bearing. So I'm again just pressing cancel, testing the drain function a few more times. I noticed though that there's some leaking from the drain tube on the floor, and what I decided to do is to remove this U-shaped piece of plastic from the drain tube, because the joint where they come together is where it's leaking. So probably at one time when the rubber was in better condition, it was a good tight seal, but now as it's getting older, it's leaking. So what I'll do is I'll grab the U-shaped plastic piece and I'll pull pretty hard on the drain tube until they disconnect. And then it's okay to just put the drain tube directly into the hole in the wall. You don't really need this U thing. You have to be careful that when you put the drain tube in, you don't go way down into the tube in the wall, because then it can start to siphon when it fills. So you only want to go down about maybe half a foot. So just push it in. There we go. and that got rid of that leak problem. Testing the drain again. So we got the dryer back on, and I'm just putting the little bracket in the front that holds the front feet in position. I'm using a standard head screwdriver to help push it down in, and then I'll put that Torx 15 screw back in. There we go. So push it down into the slot, get a little leverage. Put the screw back in. Okay, that's great. I'm going to push the dryer and washing machine back. We'll get the vent tube back on and plug in the dryer. So I'm going to set it for spin now. Choose a custom program. Over here, press this one, and then I'll just keep pressing this one until I get to drain and spin, and then I'll set it for the high speed spin, and I'll press OK, and then I'll press start. And that'll give me maximum speed, maximum extraction. So that worked great. Hope this has been helpful to you, and please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance. Thanks for watching.